they are looking at it from this stock going, that doesn't look old. The firearm portion of a bolt action rifle is not the stock in any way, shape, or form. The firearm portion is the receiver. This is not legally part of the firearm. This black stock right here, this entire thing, like the frame of the gun, is not the firearm. Why doesn't it look old? Because you can easily purchase stocks, newer, more modern stocks, to fit these old firearms, which is the receiver, and put them together. You do a quick Google search, you can find all different kinds of stocks for Mauser 98 30-06 rifles.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, it was a modern one. It was a modern looking one.
This guy, Myron Gaines, was an agent, and I have to assume that he has firearm knowledge. These are the questions that they're posing and making claims that you could do a quick Google search and find the answers to in 2 minutes. So that tells me that they're not interested in finding answers to these questions. Let's go ahead and jump into this. This shit has got me so fucking fired up. Just the amount of bull crap people are trying to spread. Okay, so I'm going to start out with Ryan Matta's intro here. His intro. So ideally, I would think if you're going to go on a podcast, right? Any type of podcast, and especially with somebody like Tim Pool's where you're going to get a lot of views, the first thing you would want to bring up is going to be something major, right? To really kind of set the tone that not only do I know what I'm talking about, but this issue is look at this crazy issue right from the jump, and then we get into more of them. Listen to what he drops first and foremost.
First big break in the story, I think, was when Blake Bednarz went through all the footage and he realized, he said, hey, the people in the cafeteria, and I showed this to Myron on the way here, you can see the people that in the cafeteria that filmed the video of the man running across the roof, right? At that exact point that they're filming that, you're seeing the crowd out there scrouching down. So then I go outside and I go, okay, let's start a video at the exact moment that Charlie gets shot. And I go, I'm going to press play and you're going to hear bang. And then we count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. I'm also using the timer on the computer to from the video thread. It's 3 seconds from the time that Charlie shot, from the time that shot goes off to the time that crowd's sitting down. So then you go back to the camera on the inside and you see the man running on the roof is in a full sprint. Within 3 seconds of Charlie being shot, 100% fact, we know whoever that man was on the low-C building on that roof is in a full sprint with or without his rifle in hand within 3 seconds. So then I hired a journalist to go.
So that's his main claim that he's starting this off with to set the tone of I'm going to show you there's a conspiracy. I'm going to pull the video up and show you. You can it's the college stream video. And you can see from the point Charlie Kirk is shot to when the crowd starts to react, okay? 3 seconds is more than enough time to go from laying down, shooting somebody, to jumping up and starting to run. More than enough time.
Back to the crime scene and actually...
If you don't believe me, go ahead and lay down, grab like a broomstick and a backpack. Now get up and start running. How long is that going to take you? Probably less than 3 seconds.
The film, I wanted to see the video, the camera, the CCTV footage that was used that the FBI gave us. So the FBI gives us the footage, which is time-stamped on the date and time at 12:23.34 it starts. So at 34, it starts and you see him running across the roof. Okay, so 3 seconds prior to that video footage that the FBI gave us would have shown this man laying in the prone position and taking that shot. So I'm not trying to push any narrative. I'm saying at the very...
I'm not trying to push any narrative. I'm not, this is bull. Just go on his Twitter and look at the narrative he's not trying to push.
Very least, what I want is just 10 seconds, 15 seconds longer of the video that you've already gave us. So then he went back to the crime scene and
so he's not trying to push a narrative. There's no reason to bring up, just say, why don't we see him laying prone? Why didn't you show us the video of him laying prone and getting up from being prone and then start running? You don't have to do all this other 3 seconds and try to put, you know what I mean? I agree. I would like to see that video. I have no idea why they didn't release that part of the video because I'm assuming they have it. So I don't know. I have no idea why they wouldn't release that. You could speculate on why, but you're not going to be able to say for sure as to why.
There's not only one CCTV camera there, there's 2 cameras, and I showed this to Myron as well.
Wait, I just want to clarify that when you're discussing the 3 seconds, are you referring to device timestamps, or are you saying regardless of the time It was in the video. It was 3 seconds.
I'm saying in the video in the cafeteria, he's running on the roof. You see that, and then you see the crowd scrouching down. The crowd in that video just realized Charlie had been shot. So then,
let's go ahead before we get going too further into this. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the college stream video so you guys can see that. Okay, so here's the college stream video. You'll notice, I mean, you're going to be able to hear the shot. You'll see Charlie's sort of, reaction to getting shot. It is blurred out, so we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And then you'll see it's probably, real close to that 3 seconds that he's talking about before that they react and start ducking down.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
He's probably pretty close to that 3 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, right around in there. Plenty of time to get up and start running. So let's go back. But that's his, this is your introduction, okay? You're here to present how crazy of a conspiracy there might be happening. And that's what you lead off with. To me, that's absolutely insane. You would lead off with at least one of your best examples that this is a conspiracy.
What you're saying, though, so in both videos, it's 3 seconds?
yeah, it takes the crowd 3 seconds to sit down, and then you go back into the cafeteria and you go look at you're watching the crowd.
You're saying the crowd in the cafeteria ducked before the crowd outside?
No, I'm saying you're seeing him in the cafeteria view. You see the man running across the roof, and you know that he's running. And in that video, you can also see the crowd starting to crouch down.
I'm assuming that he would have wanted to come prepared for this interview. Seems like he's having a really hard time explaining to Tim what he's trying to say. Is that between the time that Charlie Kirk is shot and the crowd reacting to that shot is about 3 seconds. And if we look at the video where he's running on the roof, you can see that that crowd is reacting as he's running. So that would mean within that 3 second window, he's up and moving already.
It's very popular. You
understand
guys have
why
probably
he's,
seen it. It was
why he's having such a hard time explaining
on the first day it came out. The shooting happened. Everyone.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
video,
it was like someone's recording inside a building, and you can see a dark figure running across the roof.
Right, I remember that for
which
sure.
We'll show it for the audience.
But I'm just.
How do I airdrop this to you?
You can't.
Fuck.
Well, I'm trying to understand what you're saying between these two videos. I don't understand.
Okay, just watch the press play.
So it's the time difference between the motion of the crowd and the motion.
I know, but what does that mean?
That means that the man is running on the roof within 3 seconds of the shot being fired.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a sniper. You're laying on the roof. You take this shot, and somehow you magically are up in a full sprint with the rifle in hand within 3 seconds.
Have you ever? But 3 seconds is a long time.
I know.
Yes,
but what
it
I'm
is.
saying is,
it's not totally plausible. Like, oh my God, could you believe that he was able to get up with a rifle and run in 3? Yeah, definitely. Oh man.
I just want the FBI to release the video. If they would have released it, they released it.
I don't understand. It looks like this dude works out. He's got to know how not impossible it would be to get up and run.
And for the audience that doesn't know, I used to be an agent with Homeland Security Investigations.
Okay, so he was in the academy and he used to be an agent for, what did he say? Homeland Security? All right, so I'm assuming if he should have some firearm knowledge, right?
It would show
Keep
you
that
that
in mind.
stuff all the time.
And like, for the most part, I don't watch Myron stuff like a lot, but I've definitely seen Myron stuff. And like, I don't have anything against Myron. I think for the most part, he seems like I don't even know. I don't dislike Myron. I like some of his content.
To train you, like, hey, if someone has a knife, you need to get your gun out as quickly as possible because they can close the distance.
Right.
It's one of the core things they teach you in every law enforcement academy.
That's why I'm saying, like, I agree with your point. I'm
very skeptical on a couple of things, and one of the things that bothers me is, like, remember when they released that footage when they were trying to identify him and he jumps off?
Yeah.
They don't show you where he's there and takes the shot, right? So I'm like,
I agree with this. Okay, so he's going to make this. I've made this point in previous videos that I've done. I agree with this. I would like to know their reasoning as to why they're not releasing that part of the security cam footage.
why did you guys not show us that so that we can like literally see him taking a shot, getting up, running across so that we know he's a shooter? They purposely left that out.
Well, yeah, but is that like sensitivity reasons maybe? Like we don't want to show the actual murder?
Well,
you know?
here's the thing. I think if you're going to put it out anyway to try to get the guy identified, you should put out everything.
Well,
and the fact that they didn't show that bothers me.
I mean, I would defer to you. You did law enforcement.
Yeah.
But my concern would be, could that compromise
Him I don't know that them releasing that part of him laying down and taking the shot would help identify him better. I think, you know what I mean? Like they just wanted to show that, look, this guy's on the roof. We see him running off the roof with what looks like to be a rifle wrapped in a towel and then running away from the area. And then here are pictures of who we believe that person is on the roof. Please help us identify this person. So Tim brings up a few, I think, kind of valid points. Like, I don't know. Is it sensitive information that they just don't want to release to the public yet because of an ongoing investigation? It could be giving away too much information at that point in time. You know what I mean? Let's say that there's some crazy kooky person who decides that they want to take responsibility for the shooting, even though they didn't do it. And then they could describe to the authorities, like where on the roof I was and what position I was laying down in. If they release that information to the public, somebody could claim to be the shooter and then describe how he was. So if they eliminate that part that they released to the public, now if there's, for whatever reason, some crazy person who wants to try to take the blame and tries to describe where I was on the roof, what type of position I was in, yada, 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 they would have to then match that to video evidence that they're not aware of. And then they could call out like, okay, no, this is not the guy. This is just some kooky person who's trying to take credit, which happens. That definitely happens, especially in high profile shit like this.
Compromise a criminal case against him.
No, because
what if there's something in it that is identifying that if you release to the public, you could get false confessions?
There you go.
Right? They don't want it. They don't. Maybe he did something unique that they can prove in court that nobody knows, and they don't want these.
Yeah, of course. But when
not saying that that's the reason, but there's plausible reasonings behind the things that are happening. There are some that are less plausible for sure.
You're in a weird spot because this is a huge case. The people want to know what's going on. We already know that no one trusts the FBI anymore, right? So it's like, is it going to hurt your investigation significantly when you already released a portion of the video from a criminal investigative standpoint? I don't think it does at this point.
Well, hold on.
Might as well release it. We got the affidavits. They put their PC out there.
Unless there's something in the video we don't know that they don't want to release, right? And that's the challenge. There may be something. I would say this.
Sure, it could be. Yeah, you're right.
I'll put it like I agree with you.
See, okay, there. Be reasonable, Myron. Like I said, I don't know much about him. I've seen some of his content, whatever. That's a very reasonable give. Yeah, sure. There definitely could be maybe something there that they just can't release it. Okay, cool. Since we can't throw. I mean, that's not a gotcha anyway. So, okay, give me more. What else do you have? What other compelling evidence do you have that there's some crazy conspiracy that, you know what I mean? Like, so let's keep going.
And that I think in most circumstances, the probability is they should release it so that we know, and it puts all of this stuff to bed. Mm-hmm. Because, dude, it is frustrating when I'm like watching these videos that are.
I agree. I think they should just release it. I do. You know what I mean? Unless, or at least give an explanation as to why you're not releasing that part of the footage. Kash Patel could do it in a tweet. Wouldn't even need to be this large press conference. Just give us the explanation, and then we'll go ahead and pick apart that explanation.
Blake is working with a group of independent journalists. These are students at the university that have been just relentless about going through and finding every piece of footage. So in the original video, that 60-minute live stream, there's a part of the video where you can see this man filming on the railing that's directly across from Charlie, probably 45, 50 yards out, and he's filming with this high-end Sony camera. So Blake was able to track this man down. He got the footage from this man, and yesterday, for the first time, we were able to see what actually happened in really clear, crispy 4K video, unedited. And in that video, you see it, and I showed it to Myron on the way here. You see, and I sent it to Tim News IRL on X if you want to pull it up. His Blake Bednar's. You see a device. Something goes off under his shirt. Now, this is the first conspiracy theory that I've actually entertained the thought of.
Under Charlie's shirt?
Yeah, where his microphone is. Something goes off, and you see this thing go up into his shirt. It's like something was under his shirt, and it goes up like this, and it snaps. And then at the same time, the necklace, he's wearing a steel.
You've got a high-powered rifle bullet coming at you and making contact with you. We can see clearly he's wearing a necklace. Okay? When a bullet hits you, there's going to be expansion, which means it creates a cavity. So your neck, any part, like it hit his neck. That bullet enters his neck. It's going to create expansion and create a cavity wound, which is going to make his neck puff out. You know what I mean? There's so much energy and shit coming off of that bullet that could be his necklace. That could be the chain, the cross on the chain, that as soon as his neck expands further than what the length of the chain is and snaps the chain, and the front of the necklace comes this way up into the shirt. Like, okay, we're going to say that there's an explosive planted. Then what the hell is the point of the gunshot? So they just have some dude up there shooting nothing.
First time we actually see the cloud of, like, is it a cloud of dust or a cloud of smoke? Myron, you can comment on it. You saw it.
Yeah, no,
but
go ahead.
That was a big leap from there's something in the video to a detonation occurred under his shirt.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how do you explain what this, like,
I
what
would-
would cause
I would
this
like
dust.
Tim to
Maybe it
push
was just
back
the
a
way
little
his
harder
body
on this
reacted and the
crap.
mic kind of came up and something broke in the mic. That when the necklace broke, it kind of broke that thing. But something like shoots up, or it looks like it shoots up. It goes up into his shirt and then instantly snaps back down in slow motion. And all the experts that were saying that he originally was wearing a bulletproof vest, they're going, you're watching something like they said that.
They're not experts when they said that.
All
Well,
the
they-
experts. This is huge. Everybody wants to talk about all these experts. If you guys haven't seen my video that I released, as far as I know, before anybody else, calling complete bullshit on Range Day Bros video and all of his expert analysis that they had, how absolutely fucking wrong they were. Be careful with all of these experts that everybody has.
They're saying that his body reacted before you actually seen the hole. So his body recoiled, and then all of a sudden it was like something hit the vest and the bullet shot up into his neck.
But again, these people are not experts. Like, you know this. You're going to see the body hit before you're going to see a hole break.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
so
the body armor.
The bullet's moving pretty damn fast. So you're going to see a body reaction more than likely far before you start to see the wound open and start. It's the bullet has already, like, by the time Kirk's body has reacted, that bullet is either already passed through him. We don't have an exit wound allegedly, so it didn't pass through him. But by the time his body is reacting, that bullet has already hit, gone in, done whatever it did inside of there, and stopped wherever it landed before the body even reacts.
Thing was so
You should
annoying.
pull up that video and watch
because
it.
there's just photos of it.
Insane.
You can see his nipples, and then people started saying, "Oh no, it's a central plate over his heart." I'm like,
I agree. There's still people running with this whole idea that he had some type of body armor on. For the type of body armor you would need to, like, even like deflect or cause a bullet to ricochet off of it, I'm pretty sure you would need a pretty thick steel plate. That would not be hard to see at all under that white t-shirt. It wouldn't be any like type of thin body armor, because most body armor is designed not to deflect bullets, but to stop them. You know what I mean? I don't know. Somebody's going to razz me for that. Like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. Don't know what you're talking about. Bro, you can look this shit up. It's not hard. It'll take you 2 seconds.
"No, it's not."
Yeah, people
yeah,
were
the
saying
thing
that
is that there's so many different, because with this situation, first it was he had bulletproof armor and it ricocheted up and hit him in the neck. Then it was, no, his nipples are showing, there's no way he had body armor. Then it's like, oh no, the device exploded, under his shirt. Other people said, well, the rifle is so powerful that, it just blew the shirt up. Like, I've heard so many different theories, and it's like, at this point, I don't know what to believe. I'm obviously, like, looking at all the evidence. I'm just extremely skeptical of everything they've been telling us, because it's like,
So these guys, when they're not on their own and they're just posting online and they're just making their own videos, right? They're not like this open. They're like, they come across as super confident and absolutely it's 100% this. But as soon as they get, like, even just a little pushback, they have a very different, like, you know what I mean? Very different attitude.
one thing comes out and they're like, oh no, that's not true. Like, I just heard that the rifle you were telling me that they had the picture of,
Yeah,
that's not
that's
even
right.
the rifle that they seized.
Okay, so I don't know where he's getting this from, where that's not the rifle that they seized. This is fun. I'm going to love picking this shit apart. We have the rifle. We have the picture of the rifle that they seized. Okay? They tell us it's a Mauser 98 30-06 World War I era rifle. This is important because I'm going to explain some stuff that I can't believe somebody who is in law enforcement or whatever has no clue about this. When your average gun guy is aware of this shit.
I'm pretty. Yeah.
Then no serial number on the rifle. Like what?
So
Okay, it's a World War I era rifle. Obviously, this rifle was manufactured and sold, and I believe it was imported before the law passed that it required serial numbers on firearms. This isn't the only one. There are thousands of these rifles in possessions in the United States.
So the first thing is the photo that came out of the rifle.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not an antique Mauser.
They're looking at the rifle from the stock of the rifle perspective. Let me pull this up. I mean, I've already did a video on this, but we'll just reiterate it. Okay. So let's go to Tyler Robinson rifle. Here's what so many people get wrong that just aren't familiar with or don't even have like the slightest idea about rifles or firearms in general. Okay. So let's pull this up. Okay. When they say that's not an antique firearm, they are looking at it from this stock going, that doesn't look old. The firearm portion of a bolt action rifle is not the stock in any way, shape, or form. The firearm portion is the receiver. This guy right here. Can you guys, I don't know if you guys, can I zoom this in? Okay. So this is not legally part of the firearm. This black stock right here, this entire thing, like the frame of the gun is not the firearm. The firearm is this receiver right here and everything that is connected to the receiver. You're going to have the trigger mechanism connected to the receiver. You've got the chamber right here, the bolt and the barrel. That is the firearm. That is not serialized, which was not legally required when that was manufactured. Why doesn't it look old? Because you can easily purchase stocks, newer, more modern stocks to fit these old firearms, which is the receiver, and put them together. Why would you do that? Well, if it's a World War I era Mauser 98, there's a solid chance that there was something wrong. It's an old gun, that there's something wrong with the original stock, which was probably wooden. Okay. Maybe the grandpa decided that it's less comfortable and he doesn't want to use that anymore. Maybe there's something broken on it, so he needed to replace it. You do a quick Google search, you can find all different kinds of stocks for Mauser 98 30-06 rifles from any era. So now that we have that covered, let's go back to the video.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, it was a modern one. It was a modern looking one.
This guy, Myron Gaines, was an agent, and I have to assume that he has firearm knowledge. These are the questions that they're posing and making claims that you could do a quick Google search and find the answers to in 2 minutes. This is insane. So that tells me that they're not interested in finding answers to these questions. They're just grifting off of this bullshit. That's what that tells me. And anybody else just blindly following this type of narrative, you're just as bad.
It looks modern plastic. I mean, but hey, look, I don't know.
And then
you don't know, but you don't have to know. All you have to do is just do a quick Google search. Mauser 98 30-06 stock. Wow. They sell stock. When was what the? This is not difficult.
Wait, was it a Mauser?
Yeah, it was. And then that's another thing. Let's be honest here. Rest in peace to Charlie. But if you got hit by that round, it would have
that one I disagree with.
That round, there are so many different 30-06 rounds. There's going to be different powder configurations, and then you also have grain, how large the bullet is, what type of bullet. Is it a soft point? Is it, you know what I mean? Is it a match grade? So I would like to see pictures of the alleged rounds that had the inscriptions on them. That would tell us more. We could at least figure out what type of bullet it is. We could get an idea of the grain of the bullet. If it's store-bought ammo, we could get an idea of what brand ammo it is. And then you could go through and find ballistic information on it.
I want to say this too, is there's no...
And everybody, my first video that I put out on Range Day Bros bullshit, they were coming at me like, you don't know anything about guns. You don't know anything about ballistics. Like, why? Because I don't have a crap load of guns behind me, which I took some of my guns out and put it up in another video just to make fun of these fucking people. But yeah, so because I don't have a bunch of guns or because I don't make a bunch of gun YouTube videos, there's no way that I would have any idea about guns. I do have one still out just because it's so pretty.
Official. There's no official reporting that says it's a 30-06. That is only came from the Turning Point team that the January.
That is not true. There has been multiple reports that it was a 30-06. I think it's even in one of the DOJ files.
Release that. In the indictment, it says bolt action rifle. So what the FBI has been doing is they've been coming back, and after we eat their theories apart, they go, wait.
Okay, so he is unaware of some things, and now he's making like absolute claims. This is not cool at all. This is the type of shit that pisses me off. He is about to make absolute claims that the FBI is doing this back and forth thing without even realizing that the 30-06 is mentioned in the DOJ files.
Where'd you hear that at? That was not an official narrative. We never said that. That came from the media or somebody else. I'm saying there's.
Look at, he is absolutely certain and doesn't even have these guys are not fucking looking for their own answers to their stupid questions.
Nothing official that I've seen yet that says a 30-06.
That's important. I didn't know that.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah, I didn't know that either because everyone has been 30-06. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and maybe I'm wrong. So maybe somebody in the live chat can pull up an FBI document or something official that shows.
Where did that come from? That
this was Crowder's reporting, wasn't it?
Pull it up. See if there's anything.
30-06. Yeah.
In the indictment
Tim Pool, a guy who covers news on a daily basis, was able to just in the back of his head be like, oh wait. You know what I mean? He's covering all kinds of different stories. These guys are focusing on this shit. Like this Ryan Matta, this dude is hyper-focused on the Charlie Kirk thing. But Tim Pool, the dude who's covering everything every day, constantly working, is able to just in mid-conversation go, oh, wait a minute.
Let me pull this in.
Yeah, because it was Crowder that reported it?
Yeah, so this is DOJ.gov ATF document that says, it'll probably be easier to read if I just do this.
Yeah.
It says, the ATF and other law enforcement located an older model imported Mauser 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel in a wooded area near the campus.
Yeah.
So here's the important thing.
That's
we don't know
important
if that rifle was
comes
even
from
run on the
ATF.
list.
Oh, okay. See, now he's automatically got to deflect. He's just been caught in his bullshit. This guy is hyper-focused, and he doesn't even know about this. So he's not looking for answers to his questions. So what does he do? Well, I've got to create another question. I've got to create another issue. Fuck these people.
It's still fair to say this does not confirm it, and I would wait for an official statement. And the reason why is this is the initial report they got, which also mentions cartridges expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. It is fair to say that what was written on that could be better described. Transgender and anti-fascist ideology is not incorrect, but is it possible that the initial report from the ATF when they found the rifle was the presumption of a 30-06 they included in their report, and then later they were like, oh, actually, it was a 308? Like, this was not an...
So they reported the firearm had rounds in the magazine and that there was also one in the chamber. A spent cartridge was in the chamber. Spent means a bullet came out of it. No longer contains a bullet in the cartridge. They reported that. They told us, right, that it had inscriptions on the casings. If you would like to know what caliber the round is, if it's a store, doesn't matter. On the back of the cartridge is going to tell you the caliber of the round. And here's just an example, and I'm probably going to zoom in on this, okay? Almost every store-bought ammo says what caliber the round is. Here's an example right here, 30-06. So it wouldn't take them long once they find the rifle to be able to identify what caliber it's chambered in. Wouldn't be hard at all.
A guy who didn't know said 30-06, but wasn't sure, like made a mistake.
Nah, all those guys at ATF are...
No, this was law enforcement who recovered it, not ATF.
But this isn't
super easy to identify. Not hard to identify at all, especially if it had rounds in it.
internal documents from the ATF.
And we don't even know if that was
what they're saying.
Right.
We don't know if that was the gun he had the roof. They found
every
this
ATF
gun.
agent is
We don't know if that's the gun at the roof. We don't even know if that's the gun at the roof. This is the gun that they found. The leaps that they have to take to create this doubt is insane.
Is a gun expert. They have one of the most intensive academies when it comes to firearms and identifying firearms, because if you charge someone with 18 U.S.C. 922, right, which is found in possession of a firearm, one of the things you need to establish is something called interstate nexus. And for you to establish interstate nexus, you need to have the firearm, do a test fire, and then establish that different parts of that gun come from different places, therefore affecting interstate commerce. That's how the feds get the jurisdiction. So everyone at the ATF, especially the agents, all have a ridiculous amount of knowledge for the guns because they have a very difficult test to graduate their academy.
This is actually a really good breakdown or pause point to say we're not even thinking that. You're right. They found a gun. We don't know for sure this is the gun that he had. We assume it is. Now, I do...
Based off the text messages.
Exactly.
Which are weird.
And if there was multiple people involved, that could have been the trans boyfriend's gun that was waiting for backup.
Here's the problem with that whole story. That could have been the trans boyfriend's gun and is waiting for backup. They reported that they found it and it had a spent casing in the chamber, which means a shot had been fired out of that gun. There's no reason to have a gun planted when you see a guy on a roof running off of a roof with a gun who matches the other images of the kid going up the steps. Like there's no reason to like you have the shooter. You have the guy running off of the roof as soon as Kirk is shot with a rifle wrapped in a towel, which you can see, running away from the scene. And now you have a guy in custody. So let's say Tyler Robinson's not the shooter. What would possess Tyler Robinson to not be the shooter, try to get away, allegedly, and then have his parents convince him to turn himself in, and then those parents not only convince him to turn himself in, they they refuse any of the reward money. I think they made a statement coming out and saying that money belongs, I want it to go to the Kirk family. My son wronged their family. It needs to go to them. And not only that, but Tyler Robinson has been appointed, ready for this? He has been appointed a public defender. That means his parents aren't even helping with hiring an attorney for him.
Fire or anything. We don't know.
Exactly. Right. The trans boyfriend. And again, why the messages are so weird. That may have been crafted. Listen, what if some have speculated the trans boyfriend is the actual shooter and that the guy who got arrested is just taking the fall for it? I mean, honestly, we have no idea. But
silly.
You make a good point. What if the reason those messages were crafted?
There is, I did watch a video. I might try to like impose it. You guys should definitely check this dude out. He's awesome. But yeah, I think I'll just put a little screenshot of him up on the screen for you guys. He makes some pretty valid points, just basing like those text messages that we allegedly have, right? And he uses a video of the body cam footage from the cop interaction that Tyler Robinson had on that, whatever it was. I think it was like a traffic accident or something from a few years ago. But he makes certain points on not only is Tyler trying to lie about being at fault for this accident that happened, but just by the words he uses and how he speaks. And then he makes the point that this isn't just your average, like, you know what I mean, Gen Z kid. He was a 4.0 student. Allegedly. He's a 4.0 student, had a scholarship, full ride scholarship, I believe, to the university in Utah. So he's probably not going to talk like your general or your standard Gen Z kid. Not saying that those text messages are real, but we have to think about it from a different perspective. This is a smart kid. This is obviously a smart kid. I would be interested to see like more text messages from him or more Discord messages from him, but I have no idea how we would even get that or if they would even, you know what I'm saying? But don't completely just rule that out. Granted, I would say that's a low likelihood, right? But it's still there.
drafted was because the boyfriend was like, uh-oh, they're going to find the backup gun.
Yeah, it's true. He vanished yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
You're right.
He's gone missing, yeah.
He has not gone missing. He has not gone missing. Here's another example of these guys just not even bothering to look for answers to their alleged questions. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Lance Twiggs relocated. Okay, here we go. Here's the article. This was actually published on September 23rd. Okay. St. George, Utah. Kirk's alleged assassin, live-in boyfriend, appears to have fled their cozy Utah townhouse. He's missing. Oh no, he vanished. Where did he go? Neighbors are reporting that mail is piling up outside the door. Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby previously said that Twiggs was in a safe space very far away from St. George and needed to lay low for a long time. Do you think that the authorities are just going to risk this star witness, really, that they're just going to risk him chilling at home with all of this information out about him now? I would think that they're either going to say, is there some place that you can go? If so, please let us know where you are. We will keep tabs on you. You know what I mean? It's almost sort of like witness protection, basically. No, he hasn't fucking vanished. And this was reported on the 23rd.
There's this video. It's got 6 million views from Range Day Bro, which I'm not gonna show. He actually shows a bit. I'm not gonna play it.
Already went over the Range Day Bro shit. I'm not gonna beat that dead horse. He already came out and admitted that he's whatever.
I just pull up this image so you can see.
You keep an open mind.
And just to bring up a point, I got completely razzed on in the comment section for my video. Okay? Completely fucking torn apart. I got called a Jew, a Fed, a shill. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of death threats in there. I got told that I took money to push some type of narrative. All because I could obviously see, because I have eyes and half a brain, that the crap that dude was pushing from his so-called experts was completely bullshit. And I'm not the only one. Props to all the dudes or ladies that were in my comment section going, yeah, this is stupid. Props to you. Congratulations. I don't know if we should gloat too much because, like I said, anybody with eyes and half a brain could tell that was complete crap. So I don't know how much we need to gloat like, hey, look, we're not completely retarded, but props to you guys and all my new subscribers. Huge I know why you subbed from that video, because you're, like I just said, because you have eyes and you have half a brain and you're probably sick and tired of seeing just bullshit get spread. So all my new subs, appreciate you. Not that it really matters. You know what I mean? I play around on YouTube. This is just a silly little fun hobby for me, right? I like doing video editing. This is just a fun little hobby for me. I'm not trying to be one of these, but this shit has got me pissed off and fired up. So I'm going to keep making video. As long as they keep putting out stupid shit, I'm going to keep making videos about it.
Analyze the evidence, see how credible it is.
And if you can't handle a little bit of cuss words or whatever, I don't care. Piss off. Go find somebody else to watch. I don't care. I don't give a shit. All right? I'm obviously not the guy for you. Go find somebody else.
Probably 50 to 75% of people are convinced that Israel was involved in this in some way, shape, or form. If you're the FBI,
75%.
and you can, if you're the FBI, you're Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA had 3 cameras filming at 30 to 60 frames per second. They're Sony FX3s or FX30s with G Master lenses on them. There's 7 or 3 of cameras within 7 feet of Charlie. You can see 2, at least 1 in the right.
I don't know how much the feds care what people are saying and what people are thinking. It never seemed to bother the feds before what kind of crazy stuff people have been saying and thinking. You know what I mean? It's not going to surprise me that the feds don't care now. You know what I mean? They for one, they've got a lot of work to do, not just on the Charlie Kirk assassination. So I'm pretty sure they're pretty busy, right? Not to mention it's an ongoing investigation. This is still an open investigation. They put out enough information to try to identify their basically number one person of interest. Now, that's not saying that Tyler Robinson acted alone. that there isn't some type of, conspiracy there with other people involved to take out Charlie Kirk. Not that there would need to be. It's from the looks of it, Tyler Robinson was more than capable of doing this all by himself. You know what I mean? It was an outdoor open event with very minimal security on a college campus with a lot of buildings, a lot of rooftops, a lot of places to not be seen.
Right edge of that corner right there. There's one right to his left and there's one directly behind him. We also have Turning Point employees tampering with an active crime scene, which I vouch for them. I said, as a videographer, I don't trust this FBI. If I thought that I had video footage of Charlie's.
From my understanding is the dude that came out and said that he took, or when he didn't take that because he didn't trust the FBI. He grabbed those SD cards because he didn't trust the people around in the area, which he was right to do because we seen people going up and like stealing hats and shit. So I don't think that he said, I don't trust the FBI. I want to make sure that I have this first. I think it was, I didn't trust. There's a bunch of people still hanging around in the area. I'm not going to just leave these SD cards sitting in this camera.
Assassin on one of my memory cards, and I'm thinking that the FBI is going to get the only video footage of this evidence.
So he is now like trying to imply that this is what this person was thinking. No.
I would have taken that memory card too. And then Ian Carroll goes, yeah, but you're the type of dude who would have uploaded it online immediately after. And I go, that's the first thing I would have did is uploaded that. So you're right. I wouldn't have taken those cards and hid that footage. Candace says she's seen the footage, but she's only seen the camera.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he would have. Maybe if he was there with one of his good friends and his good friend just gets shot, he would take that SD footage, run out and immediately upload it online. Maybe he would. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think that's pretty easy to say that you would do, being so far removed from the situation. That's a pretty easy thing to just say I would do. It's a whole nother thing to actually be in that situation and then do it.
From behind him.
And she saw it on FaceTime.
Yes, and there's two cameras directly in front of him. So all I'm saying is if it is their obligation, because it would totally dismiss every conspiracy theory, give us the video of him getting on the roof. Give us 2 more minutes of the video that you've already released. And if you can't do that, then you're hiding something, period.
And that's...
I don't disagree with that claim that they're hiding something. That doesn't in and of itself mean it's a conspiracy. That doesn't in and of itself mean that it's a nefarious thing. They're obviously holding that back. The question is why? And nobody can answer that other than them. That's not to say that their answer is true or false, but nobody can answer the question of why this is being held back other than them. That's it, period. So to push this as some type of nefarious action, I don't think is fair. I think you say, this is suspicious. I would like to know your reasoning why we can't see that, because there's only a few different reasons that it could be. And one of those is nefarious, but it's not only nefarious to do so.
Because me and Ryan were talking about this too, because he was saying like, look, if a bad narrative comes out, are the feds going to come in and correct it? Let me put my agent hat back on. No, you're not going to correct it. You're going to be like, let them run with whatever they want.
Okay. So that's him admitting, let me put my agent hat on. No, I'm not going to correct it. Let them go ahead and run with whatever the hell they want to do. We've got an investigation to do. All right. We've got to solve this crime. We need to figure out what happened. I can't go out here and monitor what the public's opinion is and try to calm it down, because you know what? It isn't going to work anyway. Anything I put out right now, they're just going to doubt. They're going to spin it. So no, we're going to focus on the investigation and try to get this thing clammed up. Especially Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Say what you want about him. Charlie Kirk was in that circle. You know what I'm saying? Like Charlie Kirk was not an outsider. Charlie Kirk was part of that entire thing. That whole like MAGA type movement. You know what I mean? Charlie's on the ground trying to get votes. He's trying to, turn Arizona red. Like they're all a part of this. They're all friendly with each other and probably know each other at least somewhat fairly well. You think Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, think of how regular people felt right afterwards when people that didn't even know Charlie Kirk, you know what I mean? You'd only seen his videos online. Think about how those people felt, how probably angry they were with all of these people putting out videos and stuff of them celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. How do you think Kash Patel and Dan Bongino felt? How do you think his friends and his wife feel? You think they're just chilling and going to go along with this conspiracy? You know what I mean? Like they're just going to play their part in it?
Still running my case. You're not
Use just a little bit of rational thinking.
going to care if I'm the investigator. But the problem is now you're getting to a point where people don't trust the government. So you need to be transparent to some degree, especially at least to deal with some of these conspiracy theories, because they run wild when you don't present everything.
I agree. Okay. I agree with this point. I'm all for the government being more transparent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't be transparent. I'm all for them being more transparent. I just am not expecting that in any way, shape, or form because of history. It's never been transparent. Ever. Show me a time when it's been transparent.
Address the one with the plane. Kash has been literally going and addressing.
And this isn't the first conspiracy theory in the country. Okay. There's been plenty of conspiracy theories. Look at the Las Vegas shooting. Did they seem like they were worried about conspiracy theories spreading? No. And nobody really talks about the Las Vegas shooting anymore. How much time is going to pass before nobody really brings this up anymore? What's the next big event that's going to be even worse than, you know what I'm saying? Like news moves quick.
On his personal Twitter account.
Because here's the other thing too: the press conferences that they've done are fucking garbage. Like they don't
they
talk
are. I
about
agree
anything.
with them. 100%. I totally agree with Myron right here. The press conferences that they've done have been awful. The one with Governor Cox going out and trying to relay to the public like the timeline of events and completely misspeaking and screwing it all up, saying some bullshit about how he ran off the roof and then disassembled the rifle, or disassembled it as soon as he took the shot, got off the roof and then reassembled it when he put it back down. Like that's obviously the governor completely misspeaking and misreporting what it was that the authorities told him the timeline was. Like they're not good at this at all.
Answer anything. They let the stupid governor talk. Put a law enforcement.
Thank you. See, I told you guys, I'm not like some of Myron's takes. I like stupid governor. Thank you. I agree. Why the hell are you letting this stupid governor go out and give this press conference?
Guy there. That's running the case.
Principal scenarios with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. And the reason why I lean towards they are telling the truth is either Kash and Dan are in on the conspiracy, whatever it may be, or they're telling us the truth. I do not believe that Kash and Dan Bongino, who are really good friends with Charlie, would have allowed him to be murdered
for sure and
would be in on anything like that.
The
only argument to that is
I'm not a huge like Tim Pool guy either. Just full disclosure there. Some of his stuff I like, whatever. Most of the time, irrelevant.
The theory that Charlie Kirk escaped through a trap door and the whole thing was fake and Kash and Dan and Charlie are, there's no way, dude.
Okay, well, what about...
You'd make so many leaps.
Look, okay, hold on.
I agree. There's a huge, as I just said not that long ago.
Now, doesn't Kash Patel, isn't it FBI policy that him and Bongino both, because they're emotionally, neither of them would have had their positions that they would have got appointed by the Trump administration if it wasn't for the work that Charlie Kirk and his organization did? Isn't it policy that they would recuse themselves from this investigation? And then take it a step further and you go, hold on.
Keep in mind, they're not the case agents.
Let's address that one.
Let me, you can break that down. But what I want to make this last point is that, okay, so if they can't release this video that shows Tyler in the prone position taking this shot, and this does become something bigger. You now have George then with the patsy, then that would make Tyler and them on the roof, that guy not be the shooter. And then you start to look at all the moving parts and you go, well, who would be capable of carrying that out? And then you have just now released that there was no autopsy done, that the doctor just signed off the death certificate and there was no autopsy actually done.
Okay, so this report that came out about there not being autopsy done, if you listen to it, what the call is saying is that the autopsy was not done before the death certificate was signed. There have been reports put out that the autopsy was done the next morning at a different location, right? So, in fact, I'll pull up, I think it was local Utah news that did this reporting. Give me 1 second here. All right, here's the video. I believe it was posted September 11th. And the timestamp, local time there, it looks like it was 12:07.
Okay, Bayan, thank you. You can see there behind him, police still filing into that airport as well. We'll check back in with you shortly here, Bayan. Now we want to check in with Kate Gardner, who's live at the office of the medical examiner's office in Taylorsville, where we're told Kirk's body is being held.
Kate, talk to us about what happens after an incident like this.
Yeah, Matt and Alyssa. So immediately after the shooting, Charlie Kirk was taken to Timpanogos Regional Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Then last night, he was brought here to the state medical office here in Taylorsville. Now, this is because under Utah law, in homicide cases, the body must be brought to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy to determine the official cause of death.
Okay, so they are reporting in Utah, local news, that the body must be transported to the medical examiner's office to have an autopsy done. So at the time I'm recording this video, there hasn't been any confirmation that no, they absolutely did an autopsy. But before you guys, unless something comes out before you see this video, don't go crazy jumping all over this autopsy shit. Just wait, give it a little while and see what they say about an autopsy. Don't just automatically assume everybody's reporting fact, okay?
And unless there's a court order to keep the body, it needs to be released for funeral preparations within 20...
So he's saying Utah law, it has to go there. There has to be an autopsy done. And unless there's a court order saying that the body needs to be held longer than that, it needs to be released right away to the family so they can have a burial.
24 hours of arrival. Now, typically the person's family or the funeral home is responsible for picking the body up and transporting it. But as we've heard, it's going to be taken back on Air Force 2 to Phoenix. Now, the Utah...
Okay, so now I'm going to pull up John Cullen. Okay, he's one of the people making this claim about the video that's circulating about no autopsy being done. And this is John Cullen. All right, this guy is posting some crazy shit about spy planes and UAVs being there and doing the shooting. That's this guy, this kooky guy. I mean, I think he had some stuff right as far as the Las Vegas shooting, but he's a bit of a kook. All right. So anyway, he puts this out. This is just one of his posts. See if you guys can see this. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay. So breaking, a Utah dispatcher confirms no autopsy was performed on Charlie Kirk. John Cullen's response. No, dipshit. A Utah dispatcher confirms no autopsy was performed on Charlie Kirk prior to the death certificate being signed. The autopsy was the next morning. Okay. But he doesn't show any verifying evidence of that. No reporting of that I know of. Let me see. I think he does a longer one. Okay. Here's his post that he made on September 16th. On September 12th, 2025, the Utah Medical Examiner's Office issued a press release confirming the completion of Kirk's autopsy at Timpanogos Regional Hospital in Orem, Utah. The release noted the cause of death was a single gunshot wound to the neck and stated that forensic evidence, including the projectile, was recovered for analysis. This statement was cited by multiple outlets, but is not yet publicly available in full due to the ongoing investigation. It can be requested via Utah's Government Records Access and Management Act portal once the case progresses. The full autopsy report is currently restricted to law enforcement, FBI, and Utah County Sheriff's Office to protect the prosecution against suspect Tyler Robinson. Partial details were shared with media under controlled briefings. So, not saying he's telling the truth. I'm not saying he knows for 100% certainty. I'm just showing you that there is stuff out about this and we don't know. So don't go running with there's no autopsy and start using that as some form of an argument to prove a conspiracy. You know what I mean? Don't be well, there's no autopsy. They're lying. They're covering it up. We don't know with 100% certainty if there is or isn't. It looks like, according to Utah law, there had to have been. And I would assume that the Kirk family and everything going on there are going to follow Utah law.
done, and they did find the bullet or they didn't find the bullet. And according to the Turning Point spokesperson, he got information from a doctor, which would violate every HIPAA law, and released information without a written statement.
I don't believe that it would, because if the family is allowing that information to be given, then I think that's just what it is. I don't know that, you know what I mean? I'm not super familiar with HIPAA laws, but I have a feeling this guy isn't either. And I'm not making a claim one way or the other. I feel like if there's medical shit and the family says, what's the medical stuff? And then says, I'm going to tell people, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, but I don't know for sure. But I don't think he does either.
That's not true.
Okay, well, maybe that's not true then. But
okay, so see, maybe that's not true. So he's trying to make a claim. This is what fucking drives me nuts with these people. He's trying to make a claim. That would violate HIPAA law. That would violate HIPAA law. All Tim Pool said was like, no, I don't think so. And he's like, oh, okay, well, maybe that's not true. The fuck out of here.
As far isn't true,
the HIPAA stuff. It's like, I don't know, like, there's, like, the first thing that I heard, there is
seeing that footage wouldn't hurt, but yeah, there's been the autopsy thing you were mentioning, and then like I think the New York Post reported a couple days ago that the surgeon said, oh, he blocked, he has really his bones blocked the bullet.
But look, so a statement was made. Andrew Colvett came out and he wrote this big long thing saying, I talked to the doctor.
It's a miracle.
The family has agreed that
I've already covered the bullet stuff. I don't, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to think that a 30-06 did this, but I think if we had pictures of the shell casings and the bullets that they found in the gun, we would be able to get a better understanding of the possibility that a 30-06 round did or did not do that. So I don't want to, I've covered this. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. Fact of the matter is, bullets do weird shit sometimes. They just do. And there's plenty of instances. If you're not familiar with guns in any way, shape, or form, you can easily go on to a Reddit forum and find all kinds of guys talking about hunting with 30-06 and it not having or leaving exit wounds on animals. It's not like it, you know what I mean? It's more common than you think.
But I do think there is a possibility of conspiracy beyond the official story we're getting. I think Cash has made that point. He doesn't know when he's investigating. And as to the point about Yuri Bezmenov, I think it's important to consider that the motive for the assassination of Charlie Kirk, excuse me, may not be that this guy is just some fringe lefty wacko who hated Charlie Kirk. It may actually be that these leftists were like, how do we foment conflict and crisis in this country?
I mean, that's fair. That's absolutely fair to speculate on as to what the motive was for it, right? All for that. What I can't stand is posing these like disingenuous bullshit questions and claims to try to spread kooky theories that are easily answered, or that there's easy, plausible answers for these things. But like speculating on motive, like what would be the motive for killing Charlie Kirk? Sure. I don't know if we need to go as far as to Israel did it because he was making all the young people in the country hate Israel. Israel's doing a really fine job of making everybody hate them all on their own. They're not worried about Charlie Kirk. And if that's the case, if they're worried about Charlie Kirk, why are people like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson, why are they still talking?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, I want the autopsy and I want the full footage of us seeing this guy take the shot from a prone position, like they're saying, and running across. I want to see that so that we can kind of build, the timeline better. And the fact that we don't have this stuff, it's creating more questions than answers.
I'll say the same thing.
And which is what's leading to all these different theories.
Yeah. If you can't release that footage.
Well, what's leading to all these different theories, in my opinion, is assholes looking for clicks. That's mainly what's leading to all these other theories. Even if we had that footage of that dude laying prone taking the shot, I can 100%, I would bet everything I own on it that there would still be kooky conspiracy theories and these guys putting out stupid clips to show that even though we see this person on the roof taking a shot and then getting up and running away, somehow he still didn't take the shot.
And there is something bigger here. Then obviously the first suspect would be Israel because they literally have.
In my opinion, they're being dishonest with that. I still don't think that would stop these people from still continuing to pursue the possibility that that wasn't the shooter. I still don't think it would, because of how much money they're able to make off of spreading this and running with this shit.
An entire Wikipedia page dedicated to previous assassinations that they carried out. They're one of the only militaries that has a special branch that's literally dedicated to specifically carrying out assassinations. So I think that's why everybody's first instinct was going to Israel.
No.
Thanks, Tim.
The first instinct was Israel because people are obsessed with Israel.
Well, the last 2 weeks of Charlie's career, I mean, he was literally going hard. I mean, he was literally separating himself, and then
Charlie
he turned
really
down
wasn't
$150
going that
million
hard on Israel.
from Netanyahu. And that we were talking about that in the car right over here. That's like sitting down with a mafia boss, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to bring you into the family here. You know what? We're going to give you $1 million, and we're going to make you part of the family. You're now one of us. And you're going, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go actually right down the street. I'm going to start my own mafia. And how about that? You're not walking out of that meeting.
So this is the issue I take with it. Right now, Gen Z support for Israel is 24%. Yeah. Charlie Kirk has been holding meetings to convince Gen Z influencers to support Israel.
Well, why did he turn down the $150 million from Netanyahu then?
Didn't want it? I don't know.
I think he was waking up to the fact of what was going on in Gaza.
I think it's silly to argue simultaneously that he had a secret meeting with Bill Ackman in the Hamptons to convince Gen Z to support Israel, and then Israel killed him. So the argument right now on Israel is losing support at a tremendous rate among the young generation. Charlie Kirk is holding interventions. Like you saw the video where he sat down with these Gen Z guys, and he's like, don't be mad at Israel. And then Netanyahu was like, how can we get rid of this guy who's our greatest advocate for Gen Z? That makes no sense. What honestly makes more sense, we got one super chat. Let me see if I can find this one. Here we go. From Aramov, he says, Turkey took out Charlie because he spoke against Islam. If we're talking, I don't think either of those are true, but I get the point being made. People are like, Israel killed their greatest advocate among Gen Z. Why would they do that?
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think that you put all this money into this man, you have an investment, and then you're like looking at the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks of his life, and you're going, oh, if this man is turning, if he is going to stand up and speak out against what happened in Gaza. I mean, he was on the Patrick Bet-David show saying like, listen, when I was in Israel and it took me 45 minutes to get into a chopper and fly across the country. So you're meaning to tell me that for 6 hours that Israel didn't respond to the attacks on October 7th? And he's going, how is that possible? He goes, it's not possible. I want to know, was there a stand down order? So he was really starting to dive in. The Epstein list too. He's one of the biggest advocates for at least the entire Epstein list.
Why is Fuentes still alive?
Yeah.
Why is Fuentes still alive?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Or Candace Owens.
Because
or
maybe Israel didn't
call?
kill Charlie
No,
Kirk.
just kidding.
If the argument is that Israel's like, this prominent...
Because Nick Fuentes didn't have the youth at every single university. Charlie Kirk was their biggest ally, and he was literally the one person capable of turning. If he turned against Israel, the entire youth, the last 24% would pretty much evaporate overnight. So you have somebody in a position of power that was literally, I think, gearing up to be in the next presidential run. I think Charlie Kirk could have been the next president.
But look, even that's long term because young people historically don't vote. So even if they don't support Israel, right, you still got the majority of voters in the U.S. are going to be the boomers, people 55 and older. So it'll still take time. Yeah, it'll still take time for that vote.
Another point, what the hell does the support for Israel matter or not? Are you guys in the government? Are you guys making decisions and passing laws? No, the people who take AIPAC money are doing that. There are things that the government does that have such tiny support to begin with that they still do. This like, oh my God, Israel has such low support that's going to damage them. No, it's not. The hell it is. All you got to do is they own Congress. They own our government practically. Almost, what is it, like 90% of our government takes AIPAC money of the politicians? There's all kinds of stuff that our government does that it has very little support of the people to do, and they still fucking do it.
Voting bloc to actually have enough influence to change policy.
I think the people who are trying to justify Israel as the culprit are people who, look, Ian Carroll was like, I can't believe we figured out it was Israel right away. And it's like,
when did Ian say that?
I can believe that he figured it out.
That day. He said it's within 24 hours, everyone figured out who the likely suspect was. He said he was their greatest advocate and they killed him. And I'm just like, oh my God, bro.
I've seen Ian's breakdowns on it, and he's been very specific about just sticking with what we do know and what we don't know. I think Ian's done some of the best reporting on this, honestly.
If he says that he says that he figured it out, and his answer is it was Israel.
He wasn't being sarcastic. Like Ian's, I know him personally. He's very sarcastic.
Literally, The following morning, Ian Carroll said, yesterday was a turning point for Israel-U.S. relations. Less than 24 hours and the internet already figured out who the most likely culprit was. He was their friend. He basically dedicated his life to them and they murdered him in front of his family. Israel just shot themselves.
I mean,
11.5 million views. This is Israel derangement syndrome. Tell me
100%.
Israel's bad.
This is either Israel derangement syndrome or this is somebody taking advantage of Israel derangement syndrome for their own benefit.
I say, fine, call it a genocide. I say, okay, I don't care about Israel. I don't want the U.S. involved in these foreign wars. But literally, before we know anything, you put out this tweet saying Israel did it. This is the problem I have with this stuff.
You knew that Ian was going to say Israel did it.
Hey, I agree with Tim Pool on
anything
something
else.
crazy.
Like, as soon as he got shot, if you said, what do you think Ian Carroll's going to say? I would have said, Ian Carroll's going to say Israel did it. Like,
and then
that's his brand.
Then you start getting all of this narrative claim.
I'm not
the
even
assassination
give
on Trump was staged.
Oh, you see the
any
Matt Scruggs
fucking
video that came
energy
out?
to this, that this was all completely faked. I don't even know where to go with this. Like, they ran that whole thing about the Trump attempted assassination was completely staged. Now they're saying that there's theories that Charlie Kirk is still alive. I think somebody even commented on my Range Day Bro video that they believe that that's the case. And I mean, sure, dude.
Hope so.
Right.
We were supposed to go after USAID.
Okay,
and
so now they're derailing from the Charlie Kirk assassination and going into like politics and January 6th and conspiracies of, whatever. Here's my real quick opinion on all of this crap when it comes to like the rise of violence that we're seeing or that we've been seeing since basically 2016. I think it's more obvious than ever now that these politicians don't give a shit about you. I've always thought that was pretty obvious to begin with. They just care about getting votes and then getting power. But I think it's now more obvious than ever that they don't care about anybody other than themselves and keeping power. And what are they willing to do to maintain that? It looks like they're willing to burn the entire thing down because no side, right, is really lowering the temperature. This lowering the temperature. They're still running the whole Nazis and fascists and pushing all that. They're, you know what I mean? They're still cheering on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And on the other side, you have Trump making statements of like, the left is we are seeing politics play out that clearly shows they don't give a shit. All they want to do is win and keep power. That's it.